Hi everybody, it's Honest John again. Now, as you know, many of you, I was and still am very much in favor of the nuclear deal with Iran. And they have complied with that deal 100%. And it's a very good deal, much better than a lot of experts here were expecting. But despite that, all the Republicans are against the deal, which should actually disqualify them from the presidency and from any public office, really. I mean, the only alternative to that deal is war. And the last thing we need is another war in the Middle East. Helicopters going by. One thing that has been amply demonstrated is you don't win wars anymore. We didn't win in Iraq. We haven't won in Afghanistan. Libya was certainly not a victory for us or for anybody. It's now a total basket case. Say what you will about Iran, whether you like them or not. They are at least stable. And it is our best interest to make sure that they stay that way. Now, it's not like we're going to become all buddy-buddies. I mean, our goals in the world and in the Middle East are much different than theirs. We are fighting ISIS. We're both fighting ISIS. We do have that in common. But after that, you know, what Iran wants for Syria and what we want for Syria are two different things. We support Israel, they support the Palestinians. And let's not pretend that we're some kind of equal, even-handed in that. No, we support Israel, we don't support the Palestinians. We do lip service to fairness, but our actions say we don't really give a shit about it. And there are other stressors too. The war in Yemen, between the proxy war between Iran and Saudi Arabia and Yemen. There's a lot of stuff in the Middle East. Our allies are not really friendly with Iran. And in fact, I have to admit that our deal with Iran has strained relations a little bit between our allies and us. But and Iran's agenda in the Middle East involves the spread of their version of Islam, and of course our allies have a very different version of Islam that they are practicing. And Sunni and Shiite Islam have been at war with each other for a long time. That's not going to change very much. So it's going to be a long time before our relations with Iran are anywhere close to normal. And even though it's now legal for Americans to do business with Iran, it's probably not a very good idea. One of Donald Trump's criticism of the deal is that we aren't getting any business from Iran. You know, Iran bought planes from Airbus, which is a French company. They're selling their oil in Europe, not to us. What makes Trump's comments so stupid and hypocritical is, imagine what conservatives would be saying if we were doing business with Iran. If, for example, Boeing were selling planes to Iran, we would accuse them of supporting terrorism. Conservatives would say that they're being traitors. So that shows just how hypocritical and stupid Trump's remarks were. And second of all, not all of the sanctions have been lifted. Some sanctions had nothing to do with their nuclear deal, but have to do with other things about Iran, their support of Hamas and Hezbollah, things like that. So those sanctions are still in place. And not all of the sanctions related to Iran's nuclear program have been lifted because that's a gradual process that will take place over several years as Iran complies with the deal, which so far so good. But it's really still not clear to American businessmen, and it would take a lot of lawyers to figure out exactly what business they can do with Iran. You know, there are sanctions that have been lifted, there are sanctions that are still in place, and a company could get itself in trouble if it misunderstood what it could do and what it couldn't do. And also, it's probably just not a good idea to do business with a country like Iran because they still don't like us. It's the people in the government, the people on the street like us. They like us better than the people on the street in some of our countries that are allied with us. But the Iran government still doesn't like us. Yes, we have a deal. Things are better, but they ain't great. They're far from that. And Iran has this tendency to scoop up Americans that go there for business or for any other reason and accuse them of spying or terrorism or something like that and throw them in jail. And we still don't have diplomatic relations with Iran, so in order to help them we have to go through Sweden. Sweden has other shit to do besides our business. So it takes a while to get things done by going to the Swedish embassy. We're not their priority. They're eager to help us, they want to help us, but you know, that's not their prime concern. Their prime concern is making sure that their interests and citizens in that area are protected. So, for an American businessman, I wouldn't recommend, and I don't think anybody else would, recommend doing business with a country where you can't go. Thanks for listening.